Apple fans, we may have just gotten our clearest look yet at what could become the most important iPhone launch in more than a decade. After years of rumors, patents, supply chain reports, and endless speculation, Apple's first foldable iPhone is once again making headlines. But this time, the story is different. Instead of vague reports and concept renders, newly leaked dummy units are giving us what may be our best preview yet of the device many insiders believe will be called the iPhone Ultra. And if these leaks are accurate, Apple isn't simply creating another foldable smartphone. The company may be preparing to completely redefine what an iPhone can be. For years, Samsung has dominated the foldable market with the Galaxy Z Fold lineup. Google entered the race with the Pixel Fold. Chinese smartphone makers like Huawei, Honor, Oppo, Vivo, and Xiaomi have aggressively pushed foldable technology forward, introducing thinner designs, better hinges, larger batteries, and increasingly invisible display creases. Meanwhile, Apple has remained silent. The company has watched from the sidelines while competitors experimented with different approaches. It has studied what worked, what failed, and what consumers actually wanted from a foldable device. Now, according to a growing number of leaks, Apple's answer may finally be ready. And surprisingly, it doesn't look like a Galaxy Z Fold clone. That's perhaps the biggest takeaway from the latest leak. Most foldable smartphones on the market today follow a similar formula. They are tall, narrow devices when folded and become larger tablet-like displays when opened. While this design has proven successful, many users still complain about the narrow outer screens that can feel cramped during everyday use. Apple reportedly wants to solve that problem. Instead of building a tall and narrow foldable phone, Apple is said to be developing a shorter, wider device that feels more natural in the hand and more useful when unfolded. Think of it as a blend between an iPhone and an iPad mini. The result could be a device that offers the portability of a smartphone while delivering a tablet experience that's actually practical for productivity, entertainment, gaming, and multitasking. And thanks to newly leaked dummy units, we can finally start visualizing exactly what Apple may have in mind. The latest images reveal a remarkably realistic mock-up complete with display panels, camera placements, and detailed proportions. At first glance, the device immediately stands out. The outer display stretches nearly edge to edge, creating a modern appearance that feels very different from current iPhones. Perhaps the most shocking detail is the front-facing camera design. For years, Apple has relied on notches and more recently the dynamic island to house selfie cameras and sensors. This leak suggests Apple could be taking a completely different direction. The outer display reportedly features a centered punch-hole camera cutout, something Apple has never used on a mainstream iPhone. That alone has sparked intense debate among Apple enthusiasts. Some see it as a necessary evolution. Others view it as Apple adopting a design philosophy that Android manufacturers embraced years ago. Regardless of opinions, one thing is clear. If this design reaches production, it would represent one of the biggest visual changes in iPhone history. Moving to the rear panel reveals another major surprise. Instead of the familiar square camera module found on recent iPhone models, the foldable iPhone Ultra appears to feature a horizontal camera bar stretching across the upper portion of the device. The design immediately draws comparisons to Google's Pixel smartphones. Yet somehow it still maintains a uniquely Apple-like appearance. Inside this camera bar sits a dual camera setup that appears specifically engineered for the foldable form factor. Some users may initially question why Apple wouldn't include a triple camera system similar to its Pro Max models. The answer likely comes down to engineering realities. Foldable smartphones require careful balancing between thickness, durability, battery size, weight, thermal management, and internal space. Every millimeter matters. Every component competes for space. And creating a foldable iPhone that feels premium while remaining practical requires compromises. Apple appears willing to make those compromises if it means delivering a better overall experience. Of course, no discussion about foldables would be complete without addressing the biggest challenge facing the entire category: the crease. For years, the visible crease running through the center of foldable displays has been the industry's biggest weakness. Samsung has improved it significantly. Google has reduced its visibility. Chinese manufacturers have pushed the technology even further. Yet no company has completely eliminated it. Many Apple fans hoped the company would somehow solve the problem before launching its first foldable device. Unfortunately, the latest dummy units suggest that even Apple may not have found a perfect solution. Images show a faint crease running vertically through the middle of the internal display. It's subtle. It's significantly less pronounced than early foldable phones. But it's still there. For some users, that may be disappointing. After all, Apple has built its reputation around refining technology and removing imperfections. Yet there is an important reason not to panic. These are dummy units. They are not final production hardware. Industry reports suggest Apple has invested enormous resources into reducing crease visibility through advanced engineering techniques. One rumored solution involves a structural glass mid-frame that improves display stability and reduces stress on the folding panel. Another involves next-generation optically clear adhesive technology designed to create a smoother visual transition across the fold. Some leaks claim the final crease could be as little as 0.15 millimeters deep, with an exceptionally small fold angle. If those numbers are accurate, Apple may deliver one of the least noticeable creases ever seen on a foldable smartphone. And that's exactly the kind of achievement many consumers expect from the company. Because Apple doesn't necessarily need to be first. It simply needs to be better. History has shown this repeatedly. The iPhone wasn't the first smartphone. The iPad wasn't the first tablet. The Apple Watch wasn't the first smartwatch. AirPods weren't the first wireless earbuds. Apple often enters categories after competitors have already established the market. Then it focuses on refinement, polish, ecosystem integration, and user experience. Many analysts believe the same strategy is being applied to foldables. Rather than rushing to release an experimental product years ago, Apple waited until the technology matured. Now the company may finally believe foldables are ready for mainstream consumers. And if that's true, the specifications being rumored are certainly impressive. Current reports suggest the foldable iPhone Ultra could feature a 5.5-inch external display. That would provide a comfortable smartphone experience while folded. Open the device, however, and users could be greeted by a massive 7.8-inch internal display. That's approaching small tablet territory. The implications are enormous. Imagine reading books on a nearly 8-inch display. Imagine browsing the web with desktop-like comfort. Imagine editing photos, videos, or documents without needing a separate tablet. Imagine watching movies on a screen dramatically larger than any traditional iPhone. Imagine running multiple apps side by side. Imagine gaming on a display that feels more immersive than ever before. For many users, this could replace both their smartphone and tablet. And that possibility is exactly what makes foldables so exciting. Rather than carrying multiple devices, users gain the flexibility of both form factors in a single product. Apple is reportedly optimizing the software experience around that idea. While details remain limited, many expect future versions of iOS to introduce enhanced multitasking capabilities designed specifically for foldable screens. Split-screen functionality, advanced drag-and-drop interactions, improved productivity tools, better Apple Pencil support in the future, and deeper integration with Apple Intelligence. All of these possibilities become much more compelling when paired with a large foldable display. Speaking of Apple Intelligence, artificial intelligence could play a major role in the iPhone Ultra experience. The larger display creates opportunities for smarter multitasking, contextual recommendations.